Hello everyone and welcome to the 2017 Ledgestone Insurance Open presented by Discraft. I'm your host Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, along with Steve Dodge, our Disc Golf Pro Tour Director. And Steve, we're here for the second half of the Disc Golf Pro Tour in the season 2017.
Yeah, it's a very exciting season and a great start. Fun. We start out in the west and we head over to the east. We might have a whole bunch of different players, but this lead card is it's exactly what we always wanted. 4 very talented players playing in the wind on Lake Eureka. It's a good day.
Averaging over 500 feet a hole. We're going to get right to it right here for the second round at the Ledgestone Insurance Open.
Ladies and gentlemen, the lead card of day 2 of the Ledgestone. Teeing off first from Rio Linda, California, Joshua Anthon.
And the word of the day out here today is wind. There is plenty of it. Earlier today, the women were saying they did not practice in any wind, but that all changes right now.
Paul Ulibarri.
I hope that checks up for him. Plenty good.
Uli getting a green flag as this first hole has a water carry.
From Fort Mill, South Carolina, 2-time world's champion, Ricky Wysocki.
And Ricky Wysocki sitting at 9 under par to the tee. And Anthon jokes and says, that's not bad. A perfect shot here by Wysocki.
And last on the card, from Grass Valley, California, Gregg Barsby.
Barsby's turning over hard. It's continuing to carry wide right. We're going to see if he'll get a green or a red flag, and the spotter gives him the green flag. We've got a very lengthy walk over to the green on 1. We also have coverage from this morning's lead card that took place over at Sunset Hills Disc Golf Course. We've got the women coming right at you right here at the Ledgestone Insurance Open.
We're ready to go? We're ready. Yep. Yeah.
Back to here because
And welcome back. We're here with Gregg Barsby, who's going to be approaching first. Looks like he's come about 20 feet short of the OB line. And Barsby with an uphill approach shot. Looks very effective.
I was wondering how aggressive they'd be able to be, knowing if they get over that hill, there's going to be a little bit of wind coming at them. Gregg made it look easy.
And we'll learn throughout the day, Josh Anthon is a very quick player. He steps up and throws. We'll try and get in position every time he does. Looks like Ricky Wysocki will throw last. He's going to wait for Paul Ulibarri to throw next.
Ricky looks like a picture up there. I can't wait to see that shot.
And Yuli's is just wide, however, on the right side of the basket. Steve, as usual, here on the Pro Tour, we're going to be mixing in the women's shots from the lead card earlier today. However, a little bit different format. It's not every single shot that they threw. Tell us what you did.
So we were trying to tell a story today. When someone, nice up shot by Ricky. He's just inside circle one, maybe just outside circle one. We were trying to tell a story. When someone did exceedingly well, or when someone lost a couple of strokes, we wanted to highlight that. Give each shot a little extra time to breathe. So you're not going to see as much rapid fire action. You're going to see the action that tells the story. And then at the end of each hole for the women, we do a recap so everybody knows what the scores are. We weren't able to get the commentary on there because it's a 30-minute drive from one course to the other, so we actually lost some time, and my apologies for that. We'll try to figure out a way to make it happen tomorrow.
All right, so if you do want to see shot-by-shot coverage of the women's lead card, that should be out on Prodigy Disc later tonight or first thing in the morning.
So, nice little phone ring. Ricky recomposed himself, and then someone on another hole hits a good shot. Ricky dials it in, center chains.
Yuli also opens with a 3. Josh Anthon, approximately 15 feet. And we're feeling the heat of the sun really for the first time today. It was a little bit chilly and very windy, but no problems. 3s all around. We're moving on to hole 2. back here to hole number 2. A different looking hole number 2 from what we've seen in years past. Also, it looks like we have the Zuka Trust.
Truss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I trust in Zuka.
I don't know what other words you say wrong, but we could have a jewel later if you would like. That's the word I say wrong. Yeah, the Zuka Trust. They did a really cool thing, I think, at combining holes 2 and 3. To get the birdie 3 here, you have to be very aggressive on your drive. And there's thoughts that some guys in their second shots actually go over the water. It'd be interesting to see what these guys do to attack this green.
Anthon going to switch it up here.
It's interesting thinking about what's going on through his mind. There's some point where he has the disc he wants and some point where he wants to switch.
I think he was playing off the wind. However, he finds himself going right through the lower hanging tree branches there. Uli also faced with this stiff headwind. Looks to be a mid-range of sorts in his hands. And looking for a rollout, and he's got just that. And a very aggressive play here by Wysocki. He goes with a roller that is heading down toward the water and carrying right. Barsby's looking for a forehand.
So Ricky was 1 for 7 in circle 2 putts yesterday, and he was 3 strokes behind. So if he can clean those up, he's going to be looking good. And I think he was probably pretty happy with that first putt. He's 1 for 1 circle 2 today.
And Barsby was looking to go under the branches. However, a wind lift says get up over it, and we'll get on with it. All right, let's see what the women did on hole number 2.
Well, it wasn't right to left. I'll be Jessica. Yep.
And Uli's forehand catches a branch, and it looks like it may have carried OB right. We'll have to see when we move closer. Trying to keep it away from that water on the left side. Josh Anthon hovers low on the right line. And just a quick reminder to everyone, the women are playing the Sunset Hills Disc Golf Course. That is a different course than what you are watching here today. In fact, they play Norwood Park tomorrow and Sunset again on Sunday. Well, meanwhile, we'll be out here with the men's open, the lead courses during these rounds. And a great approach shot there by Wysocki, going with a very overstable sharp edge. Very straight forehand there by Gregg Barsby. Very few people have that shot in their bag. Steve, what else are we seeing on the leaderboard?
Well, with the exception of the fact that Barsby is playing loose and hot and might get the birdie here, right now we have a tie for fourth place between Barsby and Paul Macbeth, who has gone 3 down through 3, hitting 2 big putts. Yesterday he wasn't putting very well. Today he's already started out hitting 2 big putts to start this round. And after Barsby's shot, you saw he just looked super loose. He looks really comfortable.
Uli will have a little bit of a tester from there looking at the water's edge. As you mentioned earlier, Steve, this is actually somewhat of a combination of the previous years where we've seen holes 2 and 3 now combined to make a single par 4. Hole number 2 looks to be within 15 to 20 feet of water's edge, so you have to be very careful when approaching this green. A great turnover shot into the headwind. No problems for Anthon.
Yeah, that's the kind of shot that a mortal would have looked at that and been very worried. I think 9 out of 10 of us would have just thrown that right in the water and tried to hit the comeback putt. But Josh puts his putter so softly up there.
Uli contemplating exactly how he wants to take this putt. He looked like he was going to go to a knee, then stood up, and now he's going to a knee with a towel. And grabbed good chain on the left side, however, just pushed out. That one could have stayed in maybe on a calm day.
It really could have. I think he expected the wind to push it up and right a little bit more than it did.
And I am almost speechless here. That was dead center pole and somehow popped it right back out at Barsby. He very quickly picks up, puts in, and moves on. There's nothing else you can do about that. What an unfortunate break for Gregg Barsby. That, wow, I don't know what to say there, Steve. We're going to be moving on to hole 3 here in a moment. Any words on that?
Ouch.
All right, we're moving to hole 3.
Ricky Wysocki releases late, kicks OB. Josh Anthon puts it off to the right, looking to hyzer back. Looks like he's got good distance. He's going to be putting for the birdie. Might be putting into the wind. Gregg Barsby on the tee. He puts it out left. Looks like it's going to skip right into the circle. Hopefully that one sticks. Paul Ulibarri using the traditional route right up the middle. Gets a kick. He's got about 65 to 70. Let's see what the women do here on hole 4.
3, probably.
Go! Thanks.
Wysocki hangs it out OB and brings it back in. Steve, we are moving down the fairway. This is also a slightly altered hole. I believe this is longer than what we've seen out here the last few years. How many course changes would you say that Nate Heinold has implemented since last year? Do you know?
I think to the holes themselves, the tees and pins, there were 3 or 4. But there was one big course change, getting rid of all stroke and distance, which is, I think, a change for the positive.
And Yuli outside what looks to be about circle 2's edge. And Ricky doing a little bit of work here on hole number 3. He's worked very hard for that penalty 4 that he's taking. Meanwhile, a couple of his competitors are looking at birdies, so he's just trying to minute damage here.
He's 2 for 2 from circle 2, and I had that thought. Could be a 3-stroke swing if he didn't hit that, but it was dead center chains straight all the way.
Barsby back on track with a birdie here on hole number 3. Josh Anthon inside 20 feet. And rarely will you ever see a miss by Anthon. I think today we'll be in for a special treat. Josh Anthon, one of the hottest players on tour. I'm glad you can join us here for the second round at the Ledgestone Insurance Open. We have a very brief walk to hole 4. We'll be back in a few moments. 5 seconds, we're good.
Stay clear down there.
Just a bit low here for Anthon. That is a mid-range he's throwing on this 423-foot blind downhill shot.
Barsby puts it up, the wind brings it up a little higher, cuts left. He's going to have a tough look out of those woods.
There is an OB path on the right, as well as a Mando you must navigate left side of. And that is carrying to the right side, and looks to be OB. And Wysocki with the left gap. Doesn't seem to hit a tree, goes all the way through, and circles edge for Ricky Wysocki. Let's see how the women did at Sunset Hills, hole number 4.
Yeah, Ragna. Good putt. Oh, man, she almost got that for you.
And welcome back. We're here to see Josh Anthon's upshot here on hole 4. He's got a very tricky touch here. He's got about 80 feet, and then the hill drops off significantly. And then you just got to let it glide.
Just about circle's edge for Anthon's approach.
You guys always typically ready to go?
Not always.
Your timing was perfect.
Okay. That time it was perfect. Usually we need anywhere from 15 to 20 seconds on the tee.
Okay.
Usually, but that time you were spot on.
Just let me know each time.
I appreciate it. Yep, thank you. Just keep the tee. Great approach shot by Paul Ulibarri a moment ago. Josh Anthon was actually graciously confirming with our crew as to the timing on the tees and when our crew is ready to throw. And laying up right under the pin is Gregg Barsby. Uli had thrown his second shot, which, with penalty, will be looking at a bogey 4 here. He had approached from the right side sidewalk.
One thing that I've seen with Paul's game is he will at times struggle at the beginning of a round, but I think he has more mental fortitude than your average bear, and he seems to be able to bounce back, and if he has a rough start, he could have a very hot finish. That seems to be his, what is the word, raison d'etre.
I'm not familiar with Japanese or German, but if you want to call it that.
Nom de plume.
Steve Dodges called it. Ricky Wysocki from circle 2. He is now 3 for 3, and we're just 4 holes in. Josh Anthon wants to do the same. This is to save his par. And after catching a tree branch, it looks like he gets most of the chain. However, it drops down and falls out of the basket. And Uli will walk away with the bogey 4. Hole 5 was now famously aced just yesterday by Gregg Barsby. Unfortunately, no video of that action, but Barsby with the ace yesterday on the next hole, and he'll tap in for the par. We'll see you in a few moments from hole number 5.
Tempercraft USA. Double-walled stainless steel 18/8 construction keeps it cold while you're hot, keeps it hot while you're cold. Get your customized growlers, tumblers, and sport bottles. Lifetime warranty and 1% back to the planet. Tempercraft USA. Temper your thirst.
And Josh Anthon has officially handed off the scorecard duties to Paul Ulibarri. Wysocki checking the wind here. Seems to be a little bit of a footing issue there by Wysocki. However, that does result in a red flag from the spotter just outside of the baseball diamond. Barsby up to tee next. And then almost immediately got a wind bounce as he released it. And Barsby gets a green flag. And that seems to have turned over on Anthon slightly out of his hands. That's coming back left and will be out of bounds. Uli's trying to get a good wind read. He's looking at the flags, also throwing up a little bit of grass here. That's on a good, fast hyzer line. He needs that to get left. It's carrying. That looks like it may be inbounds. Stay with us. We're going to quickly walk over to the drop zone. Stay with us as Steve and I will walk and talk to the drop zone. We have two competitors that will be moving there. Steve, this hole has been a pretty dramatic hole over the last 2 years. Yesterday, Barsby aces, 476 feet. And last year, there was a little bit of a rules clarification that involved Paul Macbeth, who was leading the tournament, and maybe it was a little bit of a turning point in keeping his momentum going, as he was not heavily penalized last year.
This is one of the most difficult drives if you want to be aggressive and go for the birdie, which these guys need to do in order to maintain and not lose ground.
Again, you see the wind pushing the disc both up and down as it swirls out here in this open area.
I'm guessing these guys have switched to very overstable discs, and Ricky put some serious action on that. That thing was flying out of his head very quickly.
And Anthon also with a great approach. Now we'll move over to the women on hole number 5 at Sunset Hills.
Good shot. Shot from me. Great shot. Skills.
Find Gregg Barsby approximately 85 feet from the pin. And Barsby with a conservative approach to the base of the elevated basket.
I'm a little surprised by that, thinking if he's going for it from 476, why not go for it from 85?
And of course, we'd like to thank Disc Stalker for your contributions here to the Disc Golf Pro Tour.
I think Paul Ulibarri would like to thank them doubly. And Paul already thanked the spotter for raising our green flag to him. Let's see if he can capitalize a little bit.
This would be for a 4. And it looks like he'll be...
That was his drive.
Oh, I apologize. I'm sorry. I was thinking he had gone OB on his drive. I apologize. Can he go 4 for 4? Hits off the high left side of the cage. Again, elevated basket. Josh Anthon is looking at 35 feet to the pin. This will be for a 4. Josh had paused for a moment. There was a number of people in the gallery that are spectating the next hole. They had started walking around. He paused for them, and then when he did release his putt, the wind grabbed it and shot it straight up in the air.
I don't think we can explain to people how fluky this wind seems. It's ranging from 0 to 25 miles an hour, and Josh threw it 0, and then 25 said they're going to go over the basket. And I didn't notice a significant change in Ricky's putt, but you can't help but wonder, when you're 70 feet away or 60 feet away and you're aiming pretty high up on these elevated baskets, how much of a wind do you take into account?
Well, we'll see how that plays out throughout the round. Yesterday, Josh Anthon came up to me later and said, I had no bogeys and no OB strokes. And here on hole number 4, it looks like it has bit him just a little bit. We have a very lengthy walk over to hole number 6. We'll be back with you in a few moments. Stay tuned. You're watching live disc golf right here on the Disc Golf Pro Tour.
For me, it's time with my friends.
For me, it's a walk in the park.
For me, it's my job.
For me, it's fun.
For looks, for life, for Lincoln.
Back it up.
Hello everyone and welcome back again. Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, along with Steve Dodge. Steve, we are through 5 or so holes.
Yeah.
Second round, some pretty sweet action.
There's been both good and bad. Some OB strokes that we wouldn't expect. Some that drive by Ricky Wysocki on 3 that kicked OB, and then he drove OB here again on 5. He's currently 1 shot ahead of Paul Macbeth, who started out very hot but actually went OB and bogeyed the last 2 holes. So Paul Macbeth was tied for 3rd and is now 1 stroke out behind Ricky in 4th. But the person that I think is about to get hot is Paul Ulibarri. He'd been struggling, but he's playing his game and he's throwing it hard. And I think that drive on hole 5 is going to put a little fire in his belly. And I'm looking for him to step up and play.
All right, we're going to get right back to it. We've got the tee here on what I believe is the longest hole on the course. I know it has been one of the longest in the last few years. This has also undergone a few changes and iterations. Barsby with a hyzer somewhat carrying over the OB, but finds himself center fairway. And really, that is a position you want to be in on this hole. That was perfectly executed.
He'll be able to be plenty aggressive. He's got a tailwind for his next shot. Paul Ulibarri basically sitting on top of Gregg Barsby.
Great shot by Uli. Wysocki will be looking to do the same. I bet he has a little bit more carry on this. And just that, a little bit further than the previous 2 shots. And Anthon
already throwing
is very quickly running up to the tee, gets closer to the OB line. Not really an advantage, but also in great position. We'll be back with you in a few moments after seeing what the women did earlier on hole number 6. That might work. Paul Ulibarri opting for the forehand, keeping it right in the center of the fairway. We're going to move into a slightly better position here near the second shot as we're standing. We're going to wait for and Josh Anthon also putting it right into the center. Earlier in the week, I heard Derek Billings and a few other players talking about how they are just playing this hole for a 4. Again, it has been slightly redesigned with a few different rule changes throughout the last few years. This was typically known as a par 5. It has the same distance to it with slightly different rules, and all of these competitors seem to be very content if they can simply get up and down, take their 4, and move on. At most, you'll be losing is a possibly one stroke to maybe one or two people in the entire field if you walk off this hole with a 4.
That is the truth, Terry. This is a very tough dog to eat. And right now, Anthon, as we know, is in the lead still. But he's only up by 1. And Ulibarri and Wysocki are just 2 behind. Macbeth started 4 down through 4 and has since lost a few strokes. So he's currently sitting in 5th, but just 4 strokes out.
And Barsby taking the hyzer out, coming in right at us, and that's going to end approximately 30 meters from the basket. I think that was a full-blown conversion there, Steve.
That was a beautiful conversion. I watch these discs fly, and I'm constantly amazed because I think they're in trouble. I see, oh my gosh, the wind, and it makes me think every once in a while these guys know what they're doing.
All right, they're going to move down the fairway. We'll see if we can station up behind the basket, and as we do just that, we'll talk about these baskets. Not only do they match Ricky Wysocki's putter, but they are raising tens of thousands of dollars for St. Jude Children's Hospital. Each year, the Ledgestone teams up with Discraft to do a massive fundraising effort, and we've seen the Ledgestone Insurance Open donate more than $50,000 to St. Jude in the last 2 years of this event. And everyone at home and here has the opportunity to win the 18 baskets that are played on out here at the Eureka course this week. And a mistake by Paul Ulibarri puts him OB no more than 20 feet from the pin. After executing the first 2 shots flawlessly, he throws that relatively short one out of bounds.
It's a very demanding hole. I'm surprised how much hyzer he put on that. And he didn't hang it out to the right nearly far enough, which is pretty self-evident at this point.
You've never been one to state the obvious, Steve, so
I thought that was clear. Josh Anthon, a much more straight shot, gets it just inside circle 1. My guess is Josh is going to be putting for the... Is this a 4 this year?
This is 4, as I've been told, at least.
Okay, so he'll be putting for the par. Yuli's going to have a longer putt for the bogey. And this is Ricky Wysocki for birdie.
And within 15 feet, there's also the keen wall here on the left side. For a number of years, we've seen disc carry either really hard or skip OB left, and the keen wall seems to aid or prevent a little bit of that this year.
In that one section, it's an OB wall. For the rest of it, it is in fact a spectator wall, just to keep spectators off the ropes.
And speaking of spectators, a great gallery out here. Yesterday we saw probably more than 100 or 200 people on site during the opening round. So there was not even an official leader card to follow, so to speak, but a great gallery. At least double that here today, and they are split up between cards 1 and 2. So a very sizable gallery. We could see possibly even 1,000 or more people out here come Sunday.
I would fully expect that, especially it's Gregg Barsby lays it to within 5 feet. Very nicely done. One cool thing, yesterday the lead card, feature cards went off close to noon on a Thursday. The unemployment rate is below 5, and we still had a good crowd. I think that says a lot about where disc golf is headed.
Certainly plenty of second shift employees out here. I think maybe that's not it. All right, Paul Ulibarri getting his position. He should be good. He has found, and the wind has picked up again. It will be at Josh's back, somewhat at our face. And he's confirmed he's next to putt. And another putt for Anthon.
That was not a gimme putt. That was a 20-footer, but if all your circle 1 putts were that hard, you would not be 94% inside circle 1.
And Uli takes his time to secure that bogey 5 here on this very long hole number 6. And Ricky was thinking about the touch there. We've seen sometimes Ricky Wysocki with a very stiff putt, and he wants to make sure with this wind there's not any chance for it to catch the chain and possibly pop back out, as we saw earlier in the round. We have a brief walk over to 7. We'll be back in a few moments. And with OB on the left side, we see Gregg Barsby go with a very gentle forehand flick here on this par 3. And Ricky also lines up a forehand. He stands still from the tee. Josh Anthon, third to throw. I thought he said he was going to lay this one out. Maybe that's what he calls a layup within 15 feet. And Uli also going with the forehand. It's carrying right past the pin. We'll be back with the women in just a few moments from Sunset Hills.
That was so close. It's good from Gary.
A missed opportunity here by Paul Ulibarri from inside 20 feet. Ricky will clean up. Josh Anthon no more than 12 feet. We're going to see 3 birdies here. Gregg Barsby is just 4 feet from the pin. Uli unfortunately left out of the party frame. Here on hole number 7, he taps in. Again, a brief walk We're on to the very difficult hole 8 in just a moment.
Sun King Discs, established in 2001. Florida's most respected name in disc sports. Official retail merchandiser of the Disc Golf Pro Tour. Currently on tour supporting Discraft and DGA live inventory, free shipping at $12. All orders $19.99, ships in a box, includes single discs, large selection of both stocked and collectibles. Check out the website at www.sunkingdiscs.com.
Crowd comes this way, and then we'll have to dodge them on the next hole.
Freaking hour at the tee. Hole 1.
All right, welcome back. I think we're here with the action. And we are
No, seriously.
here on hole number 8.
If they finish the hole, then the whole crowd's going to come over here, and we're going to have to wait another hole.
Paul Ulibarri trying to come up with a strategy as to where, when, and where these guys should start throwing. I see a little feather banner action taking place. And now Paul says he wants to stand down and wait for a moment. The second card is out here on hole number 8's fairway. It's approximately 700 feet, and they've thrown a few shots. And the debate is, do they throw now and wait for the crowd to get out of the way? And just a little traffic jam.
One interesting thing, at the press conference, we asked what holes are trouble holes. And Paul Macbeth said this was the trouble hole. He said he has a problem being too aggressive on this hole. On his second shot, he presumes he'll get through the gap. On his second shot, he wants to get on that green, and it is a tight green. The circle one, when we're putting out the red flags, we couldn't put many red flags out there because there was not a lot of land out there to put them on. I think there's 4 total.
This is really out on what looks like a peninsula
Absolutely.
green and is very treacherous. Looks like Gregg Barsby is ready to go. The flags are ripping.
Is that wind? That's a tailwind. That's going to knock his disc down?
We'll see.
Yes,
In theory, it would.
Now, Paul Ulibarri, when he throws into this kind of, the wind doesn't affect him at all.
No such thing.
Yeah, Greg.
And peering the gap is Gregg Barsby, that's tailing left. Great shot by Gregg Barsby.
Gregg Barsby is currently 1 behind our leader, Josh Anthon. And he's putting the pressure on with the last couple drives.
And a little flex there by Wysocki. Anthon is ready to go. Also playing a little turnover flex shot there, Josh Anthon, center fairway.
I don't know if it's true. It looked like that went about 50 to 80 feet farther than Ricky's drive.
And Paul's started to hyzer almost immediately as he made it through the gap. He may be finding himself in trouble. We've got a long walk. Let's see how the women did on hole 8.
knew it. Knew it. Haha.
What's the pro tip on snack time, Sarah?
This is a really good time when you're last on the box and there's a wait. This is some yogurt that I keep in my cooler bag of my Zuka cart. Because I have all these sweet accessories to carry all the cool stuff you need. Lots of room for lots of fun things like a toothbrush, some super glue, some baby wipes, an extra skirt, a rubber chicken, and some lotion.
All seem like essentials to me.
They are.
What's the yogurt of choice?
Chocolate Haze Craze Flips by Yod Chobani. It's my favorite.
Snack time pro tip, Sarah Holcomb. Chad, you're gonna get the call though. Chad's shot. And Wysocki is first to throw. He hits a tree on the left side, does not penetrate onto the peninsula. Meanwhile, we hear a gallery applause from the bridge hole, which is the next hole that these competitors will compete on.
So Paul Ulibarri went ahead and played it safe. He got the par. He's tied with, Paul McBeth. Paul Ulibarri's tied with Paul McBeth, oddly enough. Anthon goes off to the right into the jungle. That is not going to be an easy up and down from there. One interesting thing right now, Colin Bailey is in 4th place. He's got the hot round at 5 down. And he's making a move up. Paul Ulibarri puts it up, lets it ride left, gets through the gap. Can it sit? Oh, hits a tree, rolls back down into the woods with Josh Anthon. Not a good result for what looked like a good throw.
Gregg Barsby will be 4th to tee, or correction, 4th to approach. And that seemed low and light out of his hands. Gregg Barsby with a forehand.
Realistically, you cannot attack the green and expect good results on this unless you're one of the top in the world. These guys are, and they didn't get good results. This is a tight green. I think Paul McBeth might have said it right. You can't bite off more than you can chew here. This one will bite you back.
We've seen quite a few OB strokes throughout the years given up on this particular green and on this peninsula fairway here. So far, everyone seems to be in bounds. Ricky to throw next. Ricky right side of the pin, just a few feet. Another forehand here by Gregg Barsby. For everyone at home, you may notice just how much he's relied on that touch shot forehand here today. Obviously, he's skilled from both sides of the disc, so to speak, but great to realize that if you're out there practicing, depending on wind, you may want to learn how to throw both backhand and forehand, depending on your situation.
And not just drives, not just distance forehand, backhand, but a beautiful touch. I've seen many of those forehands go in from 100 plus feet by Gregg Barsby.
Basket is hidden from Josh Anthon's view. This is a very difficult approach. Again, with that touch shot, slight turnover putter from 100 feet. Uli follows suit, puts it even closer. Uli did have the advantage there of being able to see the pin that he was approaching to. Looks like cleanup here on aisle 8. No problems for our lead card. And we have a very lengthy walk over to the bridge. We're moving on toward the back half of the course. Stay tuned. You're watching live coverage right here at the Ledgestone Insurance Open, presented by Discraft. Camera up, he's squared up.
All fours.
Welcome back to hole number 9, measuring in at 354 feet. A famous bridge hole at the Lake Eureka Tim course. Looks like our second card is completely clear, and we will be ready to go here in just a few moments. Again, we've seen a number of rule changes and variations to this hole throughout the years, with its most straightforward approach this year. Gregg Barsby on the tee. And Barsby getting a green flag. Second to throw, Ricky Wysocki.
If that's going to hyzer back, he's going to be happy. We're happy with the release, though. Results are more important, I suppose.
Josh Anthons is hyzering to the left. He'll have a putt from there. And a few wind bounces by Uli. And we're moving on. We'll see how the women did on hole number 9.
You gotta get these spectators back more.
The gentle jumper from 40 feet by Anthon is just short and left. Catches chain, however, did not stay in. Gregg Barsby looks to be about 31 feet from the pin. And that may have been a little bit of a wind gust there, as he's now noticing after that got pushed down. Seemed to be on line, just low. Uli converts. Uli with a slightly different putting stroke than we've seen the previous weekend and every other weekend before that. And Wysocki brings it in with a birdie 2 here on hole 9 as we are rounding out the front half of this second round at the Ledgestone Insurance Open. More than $6,000 going to the winner this weekend. A massive crowd We're going to get to it. We're moving to the back. We'll be back in a few moments right here at the Ledgestone Insurance Open.
Sure. Thank you. Do them to stay.
Again, Ulibarri and Wysocki both with birdies as we move to the back half of the course. Hole number 10, par 3. Feel a tailwind pushing here on Yuli's disc. Barsby playing the low hyzer route, however, comes up just short and right. It's 500-footer.
It's 500 feet, and these guys are throwing over the basket. Barsby was playing that a little short, hoping for a skip. Didn't get it. Anthon hyzering in nicely, just in front and over the basket. Finishes just inside circle 1. Let's see how the ladies did on hole 10 at Sunset.
It's in!
No, no. Welcome back to hole number 10. This is one of the holes that was significantly changed from last year's layout. It used to be a much longer par 4. Now we're looking at a very reachable par 3. Ricky walks away in disgust. First we're going to have Gregg Barsby, who's just outside circle 1. He's waiting for the gallery on the chase card, who's walking by on hole number 11 behind him.
So right now, Anthon leads by 1. We're 1.5 rounds into this thing. Wysocki, Barsby, 1 down, 1 behind Anthon, and Paul Ulibarri 3 behind. It's shaping up to be a very exciting last 2.5 rounds of this tournament. Holy!
Yep, there's putting going on while you're talking. Gregg Barsby putting the hammer down, I think is an official term of Gregg Barsby's.
He waits for the gallery, but he doesn't wait for me.
How dare he? And the rest of the group checking in to see exactly where they are. Looks like Anthon's going to find himself inside the circle's edge, but he's got a little work to do inside that bush over there.
Another very difficult circle 1 putt for Josh Anthon. Looks like he's got about 20-25 feet. There's no wind right now.
And the sun is back out momentarily. It has been very inconsistent throughout the day. We started the day in the mid-50s as we were out at Sunset Hills Disc Golf Course this morning with the women. And that obstruction certainly affected Josh Anthon. He tickled just a few chains. I was just about to say that for the first time here on the tour, we're getting a little heat reprieve being in central Illinois in August. I'm quite shocked that we're only looking at highs in the 70s this week, Steve. Certainly not used to that, and it's a little bit of a welcome surprise, I think, for some of these players. It's been very hot. Utah was hot.
And you're not talking about just the play.
I am not.
So the sun, when I've noticed when the clouds go in front of it, it's much more bearable.
Yeah, it also gets a little bit darker.
So did you hear about the large weatherman? He was a meteorologist.
Yeah, he was. All right, there is a clarification here. Looking at Nate Heinel, the tournament director. Earlier you asked how you could win some of these baskets or get tickets for them. You can do so by going and finding the Ledgestone Insurance Open on Facebook. Find the event on Facebook, and there are details and information found there.
I don't know if our camera can see it or not, but it's kind of fun. The chase card has stopped to watch the group putt out, knowing that these are all birdie putts, assuming Ricky stayed in bounds. These are all birdie putts, and this is pretty critical at this point. The chase card trying to make a run at him. Barsby's already caught Anthon on this hole. If Wysocki makes this, he will also catch on Anthon, and Ulibarri could close to within 2.
Wysocki is definitely concerned about his footing. You'll have to watch that he maintains balance after the release here. And Ricky Wysocki puts in yet another one. And Josh Anthon's Anheuser putt finds the bottom of the cage for a par. Paul Ulibarri left with less than 15 feet here for birdie. And as we move to hole number 11, one of the shorter holes on the course, we'll take a break and listen to a word from our sponsor and how you can support the Disc Golf Pro Tour through Patreon.
thrown Innova and competed with Innova. I don't think I'd be playing this sport if it wasn't for creating the disc itself and then just taking it to the next level over and over and over again. How great the discs are themselves. It's really gained my trust, and I don't think I would be here without Innova. I don't see myself doing anything else.
And Paul Ulibarri first to tee here. Throws a very nice forehand flick. Next to throw would be Gregg Barsby. Barsby also with a forehand. We'll see the same from Wysocki. Wysocki hangs it a little wider, even better shot and result. And I said it earlier, folks, learn your forehands for when you walk up to a hole. Just like hole 11 at 240. And a shout out by Josh Anthon. Let's see how the women did on hole 11 at Sunset Hills.
Yeah, Ragna. Good putt.
Oh, man, she almost got that for you.
And welcome back to hole 11. If you've just joined us, Gregg Barsby, Ricky Wysocki, both in for the birdies along with Josh Anthon, and Paul Ulibarri will take the lone par. That's hole number 11, the shortest and easiest here at Eureka Lake. We'll move on to 12, the Ledgestone Insurance Open. Welcome back. We are here on hole number 12, the par 3, 354-foot Island Green water tower hole. Hit the front edge of the water tower and has rolled OB. Gregg Barsby will move to the drop zone. And Wysocki is not happy with that release. Also hits the water tower, and that also rolls OB. Anthon adjusts. He hangs it out wider to the right. They're faced with a headwind, and that finds himself inbounds. Josh Anthon with a great correction there. And Yuli's also looks more like Anthon's. That's going to reward him as it's coming in. Great shot by Paul Ulibarri. Let's see how the women did on hole 12.
Big two.
Terry, did you see that?
I did, and unfortunately his OB. Ricky Wysocki will be to throw next. Ricky asking for it to sit down, and initially a red, then turns to green. He is inbounds along with a applause from the gallery.
Get that cool bag at her. Bought it from somebody yesterday. Oh, you did? Yeah. Okay. Maybe put up. Yeah. These like they sold for $50. Over there.
Gregg Barsby ready to be off hole number 12 here. This is Yuli for birdie. that also converts, as we saw from Paul Ulibarri. Ricky will tap in for a bogey 4. We're going to move on to the last 1/3 of the course. Stay tuned right here for the Ledgestone Insurance Open, presented by Discraft.
Get like a happy birthday song? Anybody?
Happy birthday to you. Did you get your pizza? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Terry. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
Happy birthday, buddy.
Thank you. All right, Steve, we are back here. We are moving on to the last third of the course, and I feel like we have somewhere around 12,000 feet yet to play, something like that. Hole 13, very challenging, as are the remaining third. What are we going to see here?
This is, in my opinion, one of the few valid par fives in the world. I don't know who it was, Macbeth or Ulibarri, but they said, so your first shot, if you do it right, you go over the water. Your second shot, you go over the water. And your third shot, you go over the water to have any kind of look at birdie. So this is very challenging. These guys are throwing into a headwind to make it even more challenging. We just saw A.J. Risley, I presume, throw his drive, and this is just not an easy shot.
It is not. And what are we seeing on the scores? I think they're going to turn our way. Looks like we see Josh Anthon currently sitting at 13 under par, tied with Ricky Wysocki. Quite a battle. The winds are up, and we're keeping an eye on the weather for the next 2 days.
The weather looks like it's getting better on Sunday. It was 90% rain. Now it's down to 60. So at that rate, it should be down to about 0% by Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll just count on that.
That's what I'm doing. Math magic's working for us again. So what I would like to do, if I can, I'd love to pull Nate Heinold in here, do an interview with him, talk about giving money to Ledgestone. Giving money to Ledgestone. Well, that's
how insurance companies work, I think.
One of the long-term goals, but a short-term goal, giving money to St. Jude and all the great things that St. Jude does. Hey, Nate, can I pull you in? I'm going to step out for a minute.
All right, I'm going to step to this side. As you already know, I have a good side.
I have
every side
both
for
sides,
you, though.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
All right, so we're joined by Nate Heinold, our tournament director. You've been running this for 6, 7, 10 years. How long has this event specifically been
31,
running?
that's how old I am. No, 7. This is the 7th year.
7th year, and here we are on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. But more importantly, you've raised a ton of money and given it to St. Jude over the last 2 years. This year, you're looking to do the same. Talk about some of your fundraising efforts and
Sure.
how much you're giving.
Well, our goal this year is $20,000. The biggest way we want to do that is through our raffle. We're giving away 18 of these wonderful powder-coated baskets, 6 pairs of Keen shoes, some Dude stuff, Huck Lab stuff, other Discraft discs. You can PayPal Nate at LedgestoneGRP.com, $31 a ticket. You can buy 10, 20, 30 tickets, whatever you want. We have about 100 and something sold. We're selling 425, so we're trying to raise a lot of money for St. Jude.
And the last 2 years, as you said, you've written some pretty significant checks. What has it been like working with that organization, and what does it mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, they are a great organization. They have such a great goal to try to end childhood cancer. It used to be, they've driven down the rates for survival and for children with cancer, and that's just a phenomenal cause. And they send so many volunteers out to help us, so it's just a wonderful group.
They are. Well, we're going to step off the tee here. This is a shared tee pad with hole number 18. I think we've got a couple of groups also waiting to tee the other direction. Kelvin Heimberg, Gary Patton, a couple of the Gavin Rathbun, and it looks like Max Nichols. So we see a group who are wrapping up their round. They're on hole number 18. You get bonus coverage here on Smashbox.
Gary Patton.
I mentioned him. I got them all in there. That's what I do.
Happy birthday, Slick. Get some glasses or something. You know what I mean?
Nice shot.
All right, well, Josh Anthon just handed me a wad of cash and said, happy birthday, and I have to get some new glasses. I'll buy some raffle tickets with that money. How's that sound?
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I'll do that.
I would say that Eureka has been back today. Yesterday it yielded its course. Today it's taken it back.
And it did give away plenty of birdies yesterday, as we saw the hot round by Josh Anthon. And today, looks like everyone's just struggling to stay around par.
Well, this course can change from day to day just by the wind. There's no need to change the pins. The course is completely different today.
Kelvin Heimberg, one of our 4 finalists that we saw last weekend at the Des Moines
Nice
Challenge,
drive.
just smashes that drive. And this This is local Gary Hatton. And Gary shot down early there. There's a tailwind here on 18. We'll get back to this hole in, another hour and a half or so? How long before we're back here?
We're on 13 to be a little slow. I'd say an hour and 15 minutes, hour 20 minutes. So.
All right. Well, I'm trying to catch wind if we were seeing some of the second shots taking place on the other side of the river. Nate, just about how far is it for players to clear from where we're standing to the other side of the lake? Sorry.
It looks a lot longer, but to the edge of the tee to the rock, it's only 320. It looks longer just because of the water. So Paul and them were trying to probably throw, they're probably 300 or 400 foot hyzers. I thought Paul was going to try to take the aggressive route to go way right, but he doesn't quite have the guts for that, I guess. So
I guess not. Well, again, plenty of challenge out here taking place. That's one question that's come about quite frequently. Maybe you just touched on it. You said, we're playing this course 4 times, and people say, well, maybe there should be different pins or change up the course, maybe some different tees from day to day. We see that at some other large events, but like you said, this is already a completely different course than what they played yesterday by the wind.
And we considered a couple pin changes, but I designed the course with the greens in mind, and I could move a few pins 20 feet, and that wasn't worth it. They're playing a different course today, and tomorrow the wind looks lighter, and so, Sunday is probably going to be different. And there's Macbeth going over the top there for his second shot, so that's in a good spot for a shot for birdie.
And now I hear you're, besides TDing and raising money for St. Jude, are you also stepping in, doing a little bit of commentary on the post-production over with the Joe Miz crew? Is that what I hear?
It is, yeah. It's Nate squared this year, so it's Nate Heinel, me, and Nate Doss, and had a good time doing that. Nate's just a great ambassador for Discraft, and obviously they're our big sponsor, and it was fun to do that with Nate.
Well, Nate certainly has some great insights into the game. 3-time world champion. Earlier today, a little spoiler for those out there talking about the women's footage. We saw Valarie Jenkins ultimately catch up and surpass Jessica Weese a little bit earlier, and it's very exciting to see. They're in a great battle, so you're going to continue to see great shots throughout our coverage, but they're in a great battle right now, and they're starting to pull away from the rest of the field.
Yeah, I watched the last couple holes of their round just to try to see how they were doing, and Val made a great 80-foot putt on 17, and she parked 18 and took the lead there, and she's really adjusted to the Discraft discs well, obviously, and Jessica, back from injury, has done her part. So
it's great to see, and a couple of the people out here that are taking in the round that must have finished a little earlier. I see Drew Gibson has joined us. He's been walking with Josh Anthon, caddying for him, and I see Cale Avis got off in a distance. I believe he's probably going to be moving up to 18 here in a moment. And as I look off to my right, it looks like Steve Brinster canning a big putt on hole 17 on the postage stamp green, and Ulibarri is just about ready to go. We're going to get right back here to the action, folks. Again, plenty of golf to be played in these remaining 6 holes. Over 1,000 feet, par 5, hole 13. And Josh Anthon heading up to that right side, just looking to come down and inbounds. He stays dry. Again, with plenty of stability, we see these guys trying to get up and over the water. Paul Ulibarri has done just that. Wysocki's hoping for that to sit, and he should be happy with that effort. Gregg Barsby, 4th to tee. And Barsby hangs it out wider than anyone else in the group. And he is rewarded, putting himself on the landing zone. We have a very long walk to the other side of the lake. We'll be back in a few moments after a word from our sponsors.
Thank you.
Three, two, one, go.
I feel for anybody that has bad days just because we all have them. So I always try to like tell people like, you know, let's just keep going, keep moving. It's just one shot. The same thing I would tell myself. Try to give them a little reinforcement even as a competitor, because the better your competitors play, you normally, you know, you're going to try to play better than that also. So just try to positive vibe, push something out there and give them a little word of confidence.
I try to encourage them. It's tough. It's really tough because we've all been there where, you know, you kind of get into this cycle of despair. Yeah, it's like disc golf, that happens in disc golf to all of us, and you know what it feels like, and it's tough to know the right thing to say to somebody.
It's just a situational thing. If it's one of my best friends, I'm going to try to help him out and be like, hey, come on, man, you got this. And if it's someone I don't know, I'm kind of just going to be like, well, I mean, you're kind of on your own. I don't know you. I'm not going to approach you like, hey, you got it. You know, it's a hard thing to help someone with when you don't know them.
Can that affect your game when it happens?
Yeah, I mean, there's people who freak out all the time and are known for that, and it affects people in the group, but sometimes you just have to look past it and just worry about yourself and let them do what they're going to do, because they're going to do it no matter what.
Sure, yeah. I mean, I actually, like, I'm a big advocate of kind of like a good mojo amongst the group and how that can positively influence everybody. So I always try and root for everybody on the card. I think if you're ever in a position where you're rooting for somebody or not rooting for somebody, and then they do good stuff, it can negatively impact you. And so it's always about trying to keep a positive energy on the card, and, you know, ultimately all moving up on, you know. I actually think that's a really important thing, and people you're playing with and everybody staying positive, getting along, rooting for each other, that kind of feeling that everybody has, I think, leads to success.
Josh goes with what I believe is an Excalibur out and over the water's edge. Drew Gibson, his caddy, gives him the low 5 on that. Uli is lining up a very similar line. And launching it up over the water that's just fading back. It catches a tree branch. Ricky Wysocki will be throwing next. And the gallery back here likes it. And Barsby also out and over the water. We've got a lengthy walk. We'll be back in a moment.
So
And Uli had stepped up quickly to throw. We also see Wysocki going after the pin. Puts himself in great position. Birdie. Correction, that would be eagle. Basket and then sits down. He'll be looking at birdie, as will both Ulibarri and Wysocki. Once I get all my thoughts together, Steve.
Although Ulibarri's, it looks like he's on this in circle one's edge. And I'd say he's got about a 35-40 footer looking downhill. Here's Barsby, who's sitting at 11 down for eagle.
little on the safer side. He was hoping for that to filter or push down to the right, closer to the pin. Steve, there seemed to be was it an on-site scoring correction that needed to take place?
Yeah, there was a clarification on hole 10 as to whether Ricky had gone out of bounds. He, in fact, had gone out of bounds, but when the score went to be corrected, it was actually accidentally put onto, I think it was put onto Ulibarri's score. So Ulibarri's score was one off, and Wysocki's score was one off, and we've now corrected those online and on our leaderboard right here. Anthon's 14 down, Ulibarri, Wysocki, and Barsby are all 11 down, and last I checked, Macbeth was also 11 down. So, oops, there's a lot of rubber meeting the road right here, Terry.
High left chain for Ulibarri on his birdie attempt.
That putter's let him down a couple of times today. Back on hole 11, here again on 13. It's about regrouping.
Earlier in the round, you stated how if he gets a slow start, you expect him to pick things up and finish strong. I think he's going to need to start doing that. He's running out of holes here, Steve.
Yeah, here's Ricky for birdie.
And that maroon-colored putter keeps finding the bottom of the basket.
What I was going to say was, if you had told Ulibarri going into the second round, going into the third round, he's going to be 4 shots out of the lead, I think he would be happy with that. The issue here potentially is that he might have higher expectations because of where he was. So,
and he will take the lone par, as he did a few holes ago. This is the lone par back on hole 7. The group's pulling away. Let's move on here at the Ledgestone Insurance Open, presented by Discraft. And welcome back here to hole number 14, the par 4 805-foot hole number 14. This again is a slightly varied hole from years we've seen in the past out here at the Lake Eureka temporary course. And we have the chase card. It looks like AJ Risley is near the water's edge as we just walked up. I'm not certain if he, in fact, is OB or not. I think that he was. Ricky Wysocki has moved up the fairway to assess the situation. 2 or 3 minutes AJ should have thrown.
So I'm looking at the numbers here, Terry, and one interesting thing I love about the UDisc stats is the Nico LaCastro arrows, as we call them. And very quickly scrolling down, I'm looking at Dustin Keegan. He shot a +2 the first time around, and he's currently got the hot score in the clubhouse with 5 down. He moved up 44 spots so far. He was in 58th. He's now in 14th. That's pretty darn good.
Very impressive. And as we were speaking with Nate a few moments ago before they teed on hole number 13, talking about different pin locations and changing up the course somewhat. And as we said, just a completely different course when this much wind has been added to it. Yesterday, Josh Anthon had the hot score, sitting around, 11 or 12 under par for the day.
12 down.
And today, again, you said hot score at the moment is 5 under. That's a very impressive round out here for Dustin. And a lot of our competitors are hovering around that even mark, and that's a feat in itself.
The card we're watching, this lead card, the guys are sitting at 1, 3, 3, and 4 down. And Paul McBeth is currently 5 down, sitting in 4th place, tied with Ulibarri. And interestingly, Colin Bailey, who's through 16, is also 5 down. So he moved up 8 spots. I guess that's one of the problems with not being 50th. It's hard to move up more spots. But he's moved up 8 spots to sit in 6th place. Right behind him, Bobby Music and KJ Nybo round out the current second card for tomorrow. So Paul McBeth is on this card right ahead of us, and he's currently tied with the hot round for the day. This is a non-windy day. These guys would probably expect to birdie this hole. So it'll be interesting to see if he gets to 6 down and actually moves into a tie for second place after hole 14. Right now it looks like everybody's watching the third card play hole 15 while we wait.
Please go out and like and share the Facebook pages along with the link. We'll of course be back with you for the conclusion of the Ledgestone Insurance Open over the next 2 days. I think we'll be coming in around 2:30, 3 o'clock or so Central Time for the next few days. Is that the plan here, Steve?
I think somewhere between 2:30 and 3, as long as we get our ducks in our cartons correctly. And I saw Gregg Barsby and Josh Anthon standing at the end of the tee. I see Gregg Barsby sponsored by Dude and Upper Park, and I'd like to welcome Upper Park Design on board as one of our newest premier partners. You probably saw the OB wall around the water tower hole, sponsored by Upper Park. And actually a couple holes ahead, we've got another new partner in Tempercraft, the Tempercraft water bottles. Double-walled 18/8 stainless steel construction. I know what the numbers 18 and 8 mean. And they mean lifetime guarantee. That's what they mean to me.
Sometimes that's just a valid bingo when I'm at the hall, but guess we both have our different meanings.
So it's pretty fun. The Tempercraft course activation is an elevated basket, and Miles printed up a sticker. It doesn't quite look entirely like a water bottle, but you'll see the water bottle on that elevated basket, and it's pretty fun. So we have the Tempercraft elevated basket coming up on hole 15. It's a relatively short uphill hole, and the elevated basket just makes it so you have to get that much closer when you do your approach shot. Or actually on that hole on your drive.
They took a mulligan.
Oh, okay.
You said McBeth took a mulligan?
Drew OB got called, I guess, on a foot fault and got the rethrow. One of the worst rolls I definitely don't agree with. Gain strokes. You should never be able to gain off of that.
Oh, very interesting. So Josh is saying that...
Not just because it's him.
No. So Josh is telling us that Paul McBeth had thrown... looks like he was called on a foot fault and had thrown OB during that, and now is actually throwing again due to the stance call. And I could not see where his then second attempt had gone. He does not get penalized if it is your first stance violation of the round. But that could be very beneficial to him, Steve.
Yeah, we were just talking about the fact that if he can birdie this, he'll move into a tie for second, and he could have possibly gone from a bogey to a birdie. I would agree with you that that is beneficial. And I would also go ahead and say I'm not sure how Josh feels about that rule, whether if you should be allowed to benefit from getting called for a rules.
He didn't sound like he was in favor of it.
It was unclear to me.
Drew Gibson is here representing Team Dynamic Discs for the weekend, and looks very serious. You're on caddy duty today. How's it treating you after your round?
I got to play so bad the first day. I got to hang out with Josh for this whole round the second day.
Ouch. How'd you play today?
Played good today.
Well, that's all that matters.
So I told Josh that he lost the caddy for tomorrow.
All right, we're back live with Josh Anthon on the tee.
Come on, dude, go.
And what a great shot here by Josh Anthon after the wait. He'd like to also thank Howard Johnson for the towel support this weekend.
So Drew is correct. He shot 3 down and moved up 30 spots. So he did have a good day. If he does that again, he'll be in about third.
Wysocki's turns very late, and a very stern self-fist bump by Wysocki. Trying to keep it low as the previous two throwers did. Finds the tree on the left side. And just as Uli steps up to throw, there's a calmness of wind. Kisses off the tree, continues to hyzer. He'll be in a decent position from there. We'll be back in a few moments after the women play hole 14 at Sunset Hills.
Better be.
We all know that Ricky Wysocki is very competitive. I believe he just won a staring contest with a cricket. Nice work. Gregg Barsby ready to go here after having this short drive which hit the tree on the left side of the fairway. You think Gregg's going to put himself out over the water here and have that wind push him from right to left? Or will he go up the middle?
I don't know the answer to that. I know if
He's going hyzer.
If I had his skills, I would go out over the water and say, I want to win this thing. He was right up there with the European Open, and I think he's going again. He was in 38th place in our power rankings, moved up to 31st. If he can stay in the top 2 or 3, I think we'll see him in the top 25 after this event.
He opts for the turnover, which is heading still toward the water after a late turn. And he has found himself OB. He'll have to take that back at least 75 feet from where he actually landed. That was the last time he was in bounds.
If he had taken the hyzer route and not made it, he would have gotten a total of 75 feet. So still potentially a better play.
And then there's always the non-OB route. That is the third option.
So it looks like I don't know who's up next. Looks like Ulibarri might be up next, and his disc caught a heck of a wind bounce, and he was concerned it was going OB until this tree decided to save him.
And what a crush by Uli.
Hooks up very nicely. Let's see if he can get his putter to work.
And thanks to our scores over at UDisc Live, we can see the challenge is taking place on the second card. Paul Macbeth sitting at 5 under par. His card mates are +5, +7, and +10. So Paul keeping to himself as he battles through this round. And we are momentarily standing down. As I said, the second card are throwing their tee shots here on hole number 15. Josh Anthon is waiting for them to throw and clear out. A moment ago, AJ, first it was Macbeth, then AJ Risley. Just saw Michael Johansson of Team Discraft. And looks like a freshly groomed and shaved Eric Oakley. Thanks again, Eric. Looking good, buddy. Oakley goes with a forehand that actually brings down a few branches. And as they move along, Josh Anthon will get ready to throw his second shot. And Josh will find himself safe on the left side of the pin as we move out to the furthest point away here on the course. This course has really grown and expanded and been altered throughout the years. Nate taking feedback from the players over the last 2 years this course has been used. And Ricky goes out over the water with a tall skyscraping hyzer, and he will be outside circle 1.
He's about a 50 foot away. He's 3 for 4 on circle 2 putts this round. See if he can keep it up. Stay in second place. So Paul Ulibarri earlier told me, in fact, his putter was not broken. I don't know what's wrong with it then. His putting stroke seems to be a little high and left so far. But maybe that's the kind of thing he needs to get in his own head and fix it.
That checks up for Barsby, also inside the circle.
He'll probably be able to save bogey.
Steve, after nearly a 2-month break from the Disc Golf Pro Tour, we are back for the 5 remaining events here during the second season of the tour. You ready to get back at it? Busy few weeks coming up.
Yeah, this is going to be just like the very first swing. This is, in my opinion, how it should ideally be done. Every other week we have a big event. During the off weeks we put out a recap of the previous event and talk about what's about to come up. See who's in position for the Tour Championship, which is the 5th of the
Headwind keeps that up and over the pin. And Wysocki's off the front of the basket. He's going to move to 3 for 5 from circle 2.
It was interesting seeing how much he changed his stroke on that, just because of the wind. You watched Anthon float way over the basket. So he's going to be much more aggressive.
And that seemed to just drop out from under him. Again, headwind putt.
That seemed to defy the wind from what I would have expected, and clearly what Gregg expected. It's going to be a double bogey for Gregg.
And Anthon not disrupted by the caddy or someone walking during his entire stroke there. Great concentration there by Josh Anthon. Uli is in, and clean up by the other 2 on the card. Somewhat of a dejected or frustrated approach as we move off of hole 14. We're going to start bringing it back. We'll be back in a few moments right here from the Disc Golf Pro Tour in Lake Eureka.
Hey everyone, it's AJ Risley. I've been on the road for about 5 or 6 weeks now. I'm going to be on the road for another 5 or 6 months for the rest of the year, and I've got another pro tip for you. When you're playing as much golf as I do and as the rest of the touring pros do, you are on your feet for pretty much 5 or 6 days out of the week, so that means that your feet are going to be pretty tired. So what I like to do is I always have a nice pair of flip-flops in the trunk and usually an extra pair of socks to change into right when I get off the course, because I know my dogs are definitely barking. So I want to get into some nice comfy flip-flops, get my feet out of that foot jail, and relax. There you go.
Hole 15, 315 feet, and it seems like a gentle turnover is the play. There is a mandatory, so players must go left of the tree directly in front of them. Josh throwing a fairway driver turnover to the elevated basket, and the gallery closer to the pin proves. Ricky with a forehand. And Ricky's forehand has more carry. Also the left to right wind pushing on Barsby. Let's see how the women did earlier on hole 15. After Ulibarri's missed opportunity, we see Josh Anthon putting in. Uli cleans up for the par. However, this will be the third time we've seen the other three competitors in the group all pick up the birdies, and unfortunately Ulibarri not keeping pace here. We're moving on to hole 16. We'll be back in a moment. welcome back. We are here on hole number 16, a par 4 measuring in at 605 feet. Josh Anthon on the tee. Josh steps up with a roller. Rolling right past Chad, our catch cameraman, keeping him up. And Wysocki, little T-pad yoga here. I think that looks like that's also carried to the right. Barsby will be third to throw, also letting you know that we should be fully caught up with our UDisc live scoring app. Thank you to UDisc and all of our volunteers who have helped throughout the weekend. And Barsby's roller has landed much further right than the other competitors. However, it rolls off in a distance where we can no longer see it. And Yuli also puts down a roller, carrying right. The gallery approves. Hole 16 at Sunset Hills with the women. We'll be back in a moment.
I started my morning.
And Wysocki with a standstill harp approach, forehand. Many of you are very familiar with seeing Wysocki use that disc, especially in that situation. Very smooth putter approach here by Anthon. Drew Gibson still on the bag. And lunging forward from an outstretched ivy wall or bushy area anyway. Not exactly a flower or plant kind of guy. What do they call those?
Lilacs.
And a step putt by Ulibarri, which catches a rim and rolls away. Great stroke there by Uli, just a bit short. And after that unfortunate roll away, it looks like Ulibarri still will be out. Paul coming off of a win last weekend at the Brent Hambrick Memorial. Picked up a PDGA A-tier, also the site of his first A-tier win 6 years ago. And from outside the circle, he is high on the Discraft chain star here. A rough hole here. I apologize, that was a national tour victory 6 years ago, actually. And he's two-time dagger stamped. Putters finding the bottom of the basket yet again. And in just a moment, we're going to move over to the beautiful hole number 17. Just 2 left to play. Stay tuned. You're watching live action right here on the Disc Golf Pro Tour, the Ledgestone Insurance Open, presented by Discraft.
For driving with power or into a headwind, Vibram designed a distance driver with amazing glide and a strong, predictable fade. It is the ideal disc for big arms, forehand drives, and smooth right-to-left finishes. Introducing the Olace from Vibram. Durability, grip, performance.
At Disc Golf Center, we strive to provide the best customer service and value. With our live inventory of over 20,000 discs, we have the widest selection and the best prices. Check out discgolfcenter.com to see what we have to offer, including free shipping within the United States on all orders over $12 and a customer rewards program that gets better over time. Visit discgolfcenter.com, the world's largest disc golf store.
Hole 17, 285 feet. And Josh hits the dock on the right side. Barsby opts for the forehand after seeing 2 backhands. And he also will find himself OB on the sidewalk. And Uli takes a higher, wider approach and sticks the landing. Ulibarri's picking up strokes here on hole 17. We have a long walk. We'll be back in a moment. Great forehand flick here by Josh Anthon from the drop zone. And Ricky flirts with the OB sidewalk, however he is safe. And no problems for Barsby. We're going to move on to the green where Uli will be picking up 2 strokes at least on the entire card. Steve, with both Anthon and Wysocki going OB here, maybe not quite as detrimental to Anthon? Is that a good way to put it?
I guess if you're going to go OB, you might as well have the guy right behind you go OB too. Anton's birdied 5 of the last 6 holes. I think he was looking to finish out 7 of the last 8, and that's not happening. One interesting thing to me, Ricky Wysocki seems to have been struggling basically this whole round. Every other throw, every other drive out of his hand, we hear him saying, "Oh no." They're flying okay, but for him, he's hoping to do a lot better.
Well, and speaking to that, he has very high standards for himself, and I'd say if he shot 18 under, he'd still feel like he left a few out there. So Wysocki and Ulibarri in, or Wysocki and Anthon in. They'll take 4s, as will Gregg Barsby, taking the tee and a 2-stroke advantage on hole 17 is Paul Ulibarri. We've got just 1 to play. We're watching the chase card move off the tee on 18. We'll be back with you in a few moments after a word from our sponsors here at the Ledgestone Insurance Open, presented by Discraft.
Flashlight LED disc golf discs just changed the game. The unique Disco Select feature allows everyone to choose their own color by simply pressing the middle button, then pressing it again during the first rotation of colors when the one you want appears. Or you can leave it in disco mode, rotating through the 6 different colors for the duration of your game. Designed by serious professionals, crafted from Night Eye's unrivaled sure grip material, and featuring Night Eye's patented fiber optics array, these discs strike the perfect balance of durability, stability, performance, and just plain awesomeness. With easily replaceable batteries and an uber-long life, the Flashlight driver, mid-range, and putter will shine as they blaze your path to victory, day or night. Night Eyes. Discover your solution.
Back it up.
3, 2, 1, go.
And welcome back. We are here with our chase card, and Eric Oakley finding himself down near the water's edge. I'm not sure if he had gone OB and he's throwing what would effectively be his third shot, or if he just landed near there and was in fact safe. But either way, Eric Oakley is throwing what looks to be a forehand in a very precarious lie here. He's going to need to make sure he has more than enough power to carry the water here. We'll see how much he's trying to advance down the fairway.
He bites off a safe amount. Looks like, according to the leaderboard there, it looks like he's been struggling this round, sitting at +10 so far. Macbeth sitting at -5 for the round, and currently tied for 4th with Gregg Barsby, who just bogeyed the last hole. Paul Ulibarri just leapfrogged him. It's a 12 down now.
So it looks like we may see Macbeth possibly move on to the lead card, and the rest of the chase card is going to fall off considerably here. Colin Bailey ultimately finished with what looks to be a 6 under par, one of the better rounds we've seen out there today. Earlier you said 5 down was the best in the clubhouse, and Paul Macbeth's on that pace as, looks like Colin Bailey with that 6 under. And I'm not seeing any other scores that top that.
No, the next best is 5 down. Macbeth's there. Dustin Keegan is there. And Dustin ended up moving up 45 spots on the day. I don't know if that's a record, because Nico moved up a lot of spots on the day that we invented the Nico arrows. It looks like Paul Macbeth is going down towards the water. You know that he's looking to birdie this to secure his spot on the lead card on day 3, moving day. So,
as we're keeping one eye on the chase card, we'll also see if the lead card is just about ready to throw their tee shots. We're going to have to wait for a few moments, and as we said, a shared gallery. Ricky Wysocki is now peering down the fairway, looking and seeing if he's going to throw his first shot or not. Again, pretty sizable gallery, both on first and second cards. Quite the smattering of players and personalities, and lots of options to come out here and follow at the Ledgestone Insurance Open.
I was talking with Nate earlier, and I said, Nate, we're going to need ropes to keep the spectators back. And he said, well, we normally only do that on Sunday, and the crowds here are bigger than they have been on Friday, and I expect both Saturday and Sunday are going to need these spectators are going to need a little more control than they've had to have today.
And if you can't make it out here to Eureka, Illinois, we hope you're watching from the comfort of your couch or possibly poolside. Make sure you snap a photo, tag the Disc Golf Pro Tour as well as Smashbox TV. We'd like to see how you're enjoying the live coverage. We'll also be bringing you the conclusion of the event on Saturday and Sunday, along with women's lead card action mixed in, thanks to Prodigy Disc, who will be helping out with that.
So I don't think they've watched the women's 18th hole yet. Is that correct, Terry?
Unless you numbered them incorrectly. And I was going to mention a moment ago that roller is the shot here. It goes up toward the OB and is safe. Over the last few years after watching this hole, whether it was hole 18 last year or I believe hole 11 or 12 a few years ago, roller is the very aggressive professional shot here. And that is also coming in. Wow, and it does, that was going to carry even further. It just, when it looked like it was going to turn over, it then stabled up, unfortunately hitting a tree though. Thank you for tuning in. Tomorrow, again, join us. Please go out and like and share, follow along. Disc Golf Pro Tour, along with Smashbox TV. Thanks to all of our supporting sponsors, including the newest that have been added. Steve, you mentioned earlier, Upper Park Bags, as we watch Ricky Wysocki's roller. drawing the wrong kind of metal.
I think that might have saved him from going OB. That thing was pushing way hard right. What do you think, Terry?
The wind was pushing it up toward the parking lot. Tough to say, but that is still plenty of distance.
So after seeing those 3 rollers, Gregg Barsby is probably going to opt for a very safe mid-range.
Yeah, because Barsby's known as that conservative player that does not play into crowds or galleries. And actually, it looks like he may be lining up a forehand. So a little bit more conservative than the backhand roller, but looks to be almost the exact same result. A very impressive shot by Gregg Barsby here on his final tee shot of the round.
I think we're about to watch some very exciting women's action, and check out Valarie Jenkins' drive on this last hole.
Hole 18, Sunset Hills. Let's get to it.
I do like you, but I don't want. All I can think about is how much I hate paint finals.
And Wysocki's carries toward the water. I believe that stopped short of the water. He's going to be on the embankment on the left side. Gregg Barsby will be throwing next. He's not much further. And tough to tell exactly where Barsby's side. Josh comes in with a forehand. His caddy likes it. Looks like it's going to be deep. And tough to say. It looks deep. Drew, what'd you think of that shot?
I mean, look at it. Would you look at it? Just look at that.
All right. The cackling Drew likes it. Very impressed.
I think Drew, that's the Drew cackle that we heard today.
Looks like Uli will be next to throw. Uli also goes with a forehand. That is the move here, as it is going to be fighting the slope of the fairway here. Barsby very quick to throw.
This is beginning to feel a little bit like a frenetic finish here.
Yeah, that's exactly what's being said back at the production studios in Milwaukee. Seems to be a little bit of chaos here, some tempers, a little bit of quick throwing, and yeah.
What I'm seeing is what I'm seeing is Gregg Barsby's one shot behind Paul Ulibarri. Macbeth parred, so one of those two is going to be on the card tomorrow. One is not, and it's going to depend on these next. It's going to depend on their putts, is what it's going to do. And here's Ricky Wysocki. Looks like he is in bounds, and he's got about 110 feet for his third shot on the par 4 18th.
Smooth forehand by Wysocki. I have now heard conflicting both inbounds and out of bounds. I've heard both.
Oh.
So we'll see if we can get a clarification on that. And again, Josh Anthon with a very impressive forehand. We'll see if he can finish this round off here on hole 18 with this putt. And like yesterday, Josh Anthon finishes with a birdie. Very, very impressive performance out here through 36 holes.
That was a tremendous putt into this wind.
Nice. Another great putt from just inside the circle, about 30 feet for Paul Ulibarri.
And that putt will secure his spot on the lead card tomorrow.
Barsby will tap in, as will Ricky Wysocki.
Yeah, Paul.
All right, Steve, as we conclude here, we are 36 holes through the tournament, and plenty of excitement, just as one would expect here at the Ledgestone Insurance Open.
This course is set up for excitement, and these guys definitely throwed us. The wind knocked 6 strokes off the hot round, so it'll be interesting to see if the wind stays here or if these guys can play hot tomorrow. I believe our lead card is going to be Josh Anthon, Ricky Wysocki, Paul Macbeth, and Paul Ulibarri.
Well, really no surprises on that lead card. Again, halfway through, do you think there'll be any game changes, anything that they're going to do differently when they come out here tomorrow? Or they're just going to have to play each hole as they go with these wind and conditions?
Tomorrow's moving day. I think these guys are basically going to try to set themselves up, be within a couple strokes of the lead. If it's Josh, he's probably going to continue to play aggressive like he always does. And then on the final day, I think these guys are going to have to step it up and be super aggressive on this very dangerous course.
Well, just 2 months ago, we watched Josh Anthon get the door closed on him on the final hole. Ricky Wysocki stepped up in Utah and aced the final hole for the walk-off. The roles might be different this week. We'll see. Josh Anthon seems to have the upper hand, and we'll see how this is going to wrap up.
I'm looking forward to seeing the final few days here of the Ledgestone Insurance Open, presented by Discraft.
That's right. That's Steve Dodge. Well, I'd like to thank everyone for joining us here. I couldn't think of a better way to spend my birthday than following 2 rounds of golf. Sunset Hills with our women's second card, and then out here for our live lead card today. It's been very exciting. Ready to go out and relax so I can come back tomorrow. I want to thank Johnny V and Gary to the O back at home, along with Chad and Rick on the camera, Steve Dodge for co-commentating. We'll see you guys tomorrow as we bring in Moving Day for the Ledgestone Insurance Open presented by Discraft.
For me, it's time with my friends.
For me, it's a walk in the park.
For me, it's my job. Go in. Oh.
For me, it's all about the exercise.
For me, it fits into my busy lifestyle.
For me, it's my passion.
For us, it doesn't cost much to play.
For me, it's fun.